Harper Lee to publish Mockingbird sequel. An unpublished novel by Harper Lee is to finally see the light of day, 60 years after the U.S. author put it aside to write To Kill a Mockingbird. Go, said a Watchman, which features the character Scout Finch as an adult, will be released on July 14. Lee wrote it in the mid-1950s but put it aside on the advice of her editor. "I thought it a pretty decent effort," said Lee, now 88. "I am humbled and amazed that this will now be published after all these years." Set in the fictional southern town of Maycomb during the mid-1950s, Go, said a Watchman sees Scout return from New York to visit her father, the lawyer Atticus Finch. According to the publisher's announcement, she is forced to grapple with issues both personal and political as she tries to understand her father's attitude toward society, and her own feelings about the place where she was born and spent her childhood. Lee's editor persuaded her to rework some of the story's flashback sequences as a novel in their own right, and that book became To Kill a Mockingbird. "I was a first-time writer, so I did as I was told," the author revealed. The manuscript was discovered last autumn, attached to an original typescript of To Kill a Mockingbird. "I hadn't realized that the original book had survived, so was surprised and delighted when my dear friend and lawyer Tanja Carter discovered it," Lee continued. "After much thought and hesitation, I shared it with a handful of people I trust and was pleased to hear that they considered it worthy of publication." HarperCollins plans an initial print run of 2 million copies. To Kill a Mockingbird was published in July 1960 and won the Pulitzer Prize. 2 years later it was adapted into an Oscar-winning film starring Gregory Peck. Lee has rarely spoken to the media since the 1960s and is unlikely to do any publicity for her new book. "Extraordinary gift." In a statement, HarperCollins' Jonathan Burnham called Go, said a Watchman a remarkable literary event whose discovery is an extraordinary gift to the many readers and fans of To Kill a Mockingbird. He said, "Reading in many ways like a sequel to Harper Lee's classic novel, it is a compelling and ultimately moving narrative about a father and a daughter's relationship, and the life of a small Alabama town living through the racial tensions of the 1950s. Go, said a Watchman will be published in the UK by William Heinemann, the original UK publisher of To Kill a Mockingbird. Tom Weldon, of parent company Penguin Random House, said its publication would be a major event. The story of this first book, both parent to Kill a Mockingbird and rather wonderfully acting as its sequel, is fascinating," he continued. "Millions of fans around the world will have the chance to reacquaint themselves with Scout, her father Atticus, and the prejudices and claustrophobia of that small town in Alabama Harper Lee conjures so brilliantly.